You know, numbers are something we use constantly, every single day, right? But we almost never really think about them. Well, what if I told you that hiding inside those digits is this incredible story? It's a story of logic, a little bit of rebellion, and some seriously ancient history. So let's dive in and see what secrets are hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so it all kicks off with this question that I'm willing to bet has bugged you at some point. Think about it. We count up to 10, and then 11, 12. And then all of a sudden, things just snap into this nice logical pattern: 13, 14, 15. So what's the deal with that weird detour at the beginning? I mean, really, why don't we just say oneteen or twoteen? It would make so much more sense, right?
And when you lay it out like this, the problem becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the logical pattern that our brains are just screaming for. And on the other, what we actually say. 11 and 12 are the total rebels here, the odd ones out. And yeah, 13 starts to get back in line, but even that's not 3-teen. So seriously, what is going on here?
Okay, don't worry, I promise there is a method to this madness. We're gonna crack this code together. We'll start with the basic rules, then we'll tackle those rebellious teens, decode the decades, and finally, see how it all clicks together into one surprisingly powerful system.
All right, first up, we're basically going on a little archaeological dig. But forget sand and bone. Our artifacts are the words we use for counting every single day. Okay, now for the basic building blocks, because before we can really get into the rule breakers, we got to appreciate the simple, logical system they're rebelling against in the first place.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with these 10 symbols right here. You can think of them as the alphabet for our entire language of numbers. With just these 10 little tools, we can write down any number you can possibly imagine, from the price of your morning coffee all the way to the distance to a whole other galaxy.
So what's the magic that makes this all work? It's a concept called place value, and it's honestly a genius idea. A digit's worth changes depending on where you put it. I mean, think about it. The 5 in the number 35 just means 5, but the 5 in 53, that means 50. It's so simple, so elegant, but unbelievably powerful. This logic right here is the absolute bedrock of our entire number system.
All right, now that we've got that foundation down, it is time to finally confront our main culprits, the rebellious teens. So why do they just refuse to follow the rules?
And the answer? Well, it's history. These aren't math mistakes. They're basically linguistic fossils. The secret to this whole puzzle isn't in a math book. It's in a language that's way, way older. Old English.
So let's start with 11. It traces its roots all the way back to this Old English word, endlovon. Yeah, I know, it looks a little strange, but just stick with me here.
Because when you break that word down, endolophon literally just means one left, as in one left over after you've counted to 10. See, it wasn't part of a 10 plus 1 system, it was a totally separate idea. It's a linguistic leftover. How cool is that?
Okay, so that's 11. What about 12? I bet you can guess where this is going. Yep, it comes from the Old English word 12. And just like endolovian, 12 has a hidden meaning. You guessed it, 2 left over 10. So 11 and 12, they aren't following our modern teen pattern because they're fossils. They come from an older system of counting that just thought of them as 1 left and 2 left. And there you have it, mystery solved.
So after those two historical holdouts, the system kind of gets a modern update. From 13 all the way to 19, we finally see that logical pattern we were expecting to begin with. 13 is just a slightly tweaked way of saying 3 and 10. 14 is 4 and 10, and so on. The logic finally kicks in and takes over.
Okay, now that we've wrangled those teens, let's move on and decode the decades. And hey, the good news is, from here on out, the system gets super consistent and predictable. The chaos is over.
And right away, you can see this beautiful, simple pattern emerge. That little ty suffix at the end, it's basically just shorthand for times 10. So 20 is another way to say 2 tens, 30 is 3 tens, 40, 4 tens. You get the idea. It's that simple, repeatable logic we've been searching for. And that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle, cracking the number code. We've seen the ancient quirks, we've seen the modern logic. Now, let's put it all together and see what we can do. So, what about a big, kind of intimidating number like this one? It looks pretty complicated, right? But honestly, thanks to the system we've just unpacked, it's actually a piece of cake. You just break it down into smaller chunks using that place value we talked about. First, you read the millions group, 5 million. Easy enough. Then the thousands group, 432,000. And finally, that last little group, 198. See? It's just repeating the same simple rules over and over again.
And really, that's the main takeaway here. Our number system isn't just one single thing. It's this amazing hybrid. It's a logical place value machine that's built on a foundation of these ancient, quirky words. The chaos of 11 and the beautiful order of 50. They manage to coexist perfectly.
You know, it reminds me of that old saying, language is the fossil of the mind. And our number words are perfect proof of that. They carry these little echoes of how our ancestors thought, how they counted, and how they saw the world, all preserved for us to see every single time we just check the price of something. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. If a system as basic and everyday as counting holds this much hidden history, just imagine what other secrets are hiding in plain sight in all the other words we use every day. What else is out there waiting to be discovered?